Well, I can't dance as good as you guys, so I won't be doing that. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? So it's nice to be on stage at the happy hour, right? Since everybody's got their drink in front of them, I can't screw this up if I tried, right? So we're going to talk about leveraging your most compelling advantages. And I want to start out by asking you a question. Do you know how the world sees you? Well, maybe that's too big of a question. What about your family members? What about your closest friends? What would they say about you? How would they describe you? How would your boss describe you? How would your coworkers describe you? What about your employees? What do they see about you? What would they talk about you? What I'd like for you to consider today is what are your most compelling advantages that make you fascinating to others? And it's important that you understand when I say to others. Most of us see ourselves through our own eyes. Many of us have taken personality tests. I know you've all taken these different personality tests that might tell you a little bit about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses. But the important thing to understand is how do others see you? How do they view you? What are the advantages that they see you as having? What makes you fascinating to them? Because when you understand what makes you fascinating, when you understand what your advantages are, you can be at your best. So let's talk about that. Your advantages are what give you leverage over others. Your advantages keep you in front of the race. So it's important for you to understand what they are. So what do I mean by that? So take, for example, you go on a job interview. Take, for example, you're pitching a new product to a prospective buyer, or you're trying to convince a room of your peers on an idea that you may have. Now, no doubt, in many of those instances, there are going to be others who have relatively the same thing that you have to offer, right? They're going to be, coming at the person that you're speaking to from all angles, offering the same thing. So this person has seen it all. They've seen everybody's pitch. They've seen a ton of resumes. So what else is there? What else do you have? What else you got, right? If you don't have anything else, all that's left is you. So no doubt the listener is going to start automatically making their decisions about who they're going to go forward with or not based on you, based on what they remember about you, and in some cases based on what they want to forget about you, which is, you don't want to be in that situation. Most people will immediately dismiss someone who they feel is arrogant or comes across as overbearing. But what I want to tell you today is that even those personality traits can be turned into an advantage. And how is that? If a person understands that the world sees them as being overbearing and arrogant, and they tweak that behavior can then come across as confident, right? And so now that person all of a sudden has an advantage. Now that person all of a sudden may be fascinating more so than others. Leverage your most compelling advantages. How do you leverage your most compelling advantages? Many of us have heard that we need to focus on our weaknesses, right? Focus on the things that you don't do well, you want to get better at them, focus on them. What I want to tell you today is focus on your strengths more. Focus on your strengths more. Why? Because when you focus on the things that you already do well, you have no choice but to get exceedingly better at it. What makes great athletes great? They focus on the things that they do well. They don't spend time focusing on the things that they don't do well. They focus on what they do well to make them a great athlete. Take Stephen Curry, for example. Got a great three-point shot. It's not pretty. He's not spending hang time trying to look nice at it. He's focusing on that three-point shot. Boom, 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 hitting it every single time, almost every time. He's focusing on what he does well. So when you focus on what you do well, as I said, you focus on the things that give you the most compelling advantage. I'm not saying that you shouldn't focus on your weaknesses. That's fine. Focus on the things that you don't do well. But what I'm offering you today is that you may only get marginally better at those things. And people may not find you as fascinating when you're in that space. But when you're focusing on the things that make you look well, that make you look good, and the things that you already do well and that you're doing them even better, now you're more fascinating to people. So let me take myself as an example. I know that my most fascinating and most compelling advantages are leadership and influence skills. I know that. People have told me that. I know that about myself. For example, normally when I was in school, also at work, no matter how hard I tried not to, I always end up leading a group project. Always. And I hear people laughing out there because some of you may be in that position as well. You always end up taking the lead. I've tried hard to sit back and say, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm going to see who's going to step up to the plate, because I'm not doing it this time. I'm sorry. No. I'm just not. I'm not doing it. And next thing you know, somehow or another, I'm dragged into this role where all of a sudden I'm handing out assignments. Okay, you do this, you do that. I'm, rallying the troops. I'm leading. You know why? Because I am my most compelling advantage is leadership. And others see that. So it's like automatically they push me into that role. I want to be a social loafer sometimes, I want to sit back and let somebody else take over. But somehow or another, I get pushed in that role. And so what did I do? I had to own it. So I say to you, for all those out there who probably experience some of the same things, own it, right? And get better at it, and train yourself to be better at it, because it is one of your more compelling advantages. I also know that another advantage that I have is being a woman of color, being an out lesbian in a very senior role in one of the largest financial institutions in the world. Right? That's an advantage, right? That is completely an advantage. I love walking into a room or a meeting and nobody else there looks like me. Nobody's dressed like I am, and now I look fascinating to everyone. Now I could back up and try to hide into the wallpaper, but I use that as my advantage because I know they're going to remember me. They're going to remember what I look like. They're going to remember my short haircut, my shoes, the fact that I'm wearing these suits, and they're thinking to themselves, wow, okay, well, who's that? I got an advantage because you remember me, right? You're going to talk about me. That is my advantage, and I damn sure use it each and every time. I use it all day at work, and I'm telling you, use your advantages. I'm also going to say to you that you should know what are not your advantages. For me, I know that my advantage is not giving financial reports and very analytical reviews. That's not my advantage. I'm not compelling when I'm doing that. And people don't find me very fascinating. I can do it, but people don't find me as fascinating when I'm in that role. So what do? I use my advantage of leadership and influence skills to get somebody else to do it, right? Right? I bring somebody else on who is fascinating in that way, right? And that they know how to do that. So I bring them onto my team. And now I've leveraged my most compelling advantage. So what I'm saying to you is you need to know who you are. You need to know who you are as an individual. You need to know the things that you do well. What is it that you do well, that you feel good doing when you're doing it, that people tell you you're good at it when you're doing it? The only way you will know that is if you are being your authentic self each and every day, all day long. Be your authentic self. You know why? Everyone else is already taken. You have to be yourself. You have no choice. If you are spending time being somebody else, you're wasting time sending out representatives ahead of you, you're just wasting time. Be who you are. Be authentic. People can see you, and they can see when you're not being you. You're not hiding. Just be you. And just own the things that you do well. And if you don't know what you do well, ask somebody. They will tell you. The most important thing that you need to learn and that you need to understand is that you need to own what you do well. You need to own your advantages. You need to own your own authenticity. I want to leave a quote with you today, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to read this on this monitor, so I left my glasses up here just in case. But Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was an American poet and lecturer at Harvard, said this: "Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny." Know who you are. Know what your compelling advantages are. Own them. Be about them. Live it. You will have a much more fulfilling career, a much more fulfilling life. And that's the message that I would like to leave for you today. Thank you very much. Okay.